Dear students, grade 5. In this video, we're going to study about shadows. And to study about shadows, here are a few things that we've learned when we study about light. Light is the brightness that comes from the sun, fire, and many other sources. This we have learned before. Light is brightness that comes from sources of light, many sources of light. There are many sources of light. There are artificial sources, like here in the picture you have the lamp, the nightstand, you have the torch, and you have the TV also can be a source of light. The candle also is a source of light, and the sun. But what is the difference between all of them? First of all, the sun is natural source of light, means it gives light and we cannot turn it on or off. We did not made it, and for each day we find it in nature. Other than that, the TV, the nightstand or the lamp, the candle and the torch, that is made by humans and they are called artificial sources of light. So you have natural sources of light and you have artificial sources of light. There are also light sources like the glowworm and the fire fleas. These are natural sources of light at night in some places of the world or in some forests of the world. Also, we have learned that the moon is not source of light, it only reflects the light of the sun. So the moon actually can work as a big mirror that reflects the light of the sun, and it's not a source of light. Here's a picture of how does the moon reflect the light. The light from the sun falls on the moon, and the moon, which works as a big mirror, reflects that light from the sun directly to the earth, and that's how we can see it lit up in the sky, but it's only a big mirror that is reflecting the light of the sun. Also, we studied 3 types of material: transparent materials, materials that let the light pass through them, like glasses or crystals. We can see clearly what's on the other side of a glass window or a crystal. So this means that it passes all the light that goes through them. Translucent materials are also objects that can only pass some of the light. So what we can see behind these objects like figures, but we cannot determine what exactly is behind them, like tissue paper or frosted glass. Through the frosted glass you can see a figure. If there is someone or there is something, you can see just a figure of that, but you cannot see it clearly exactly what is that. And there is opaque materials. Opaque materials, they are materials that do not allow the light to pass through them. Actually, they block the light and they absorb the light that falls on them. Now here is also back to the characteristics of light. The light travels in a straight line. Light can be reflected and can be refracted or bent using when the light travels from one medium to another. For example, when it travels from water to the air or vice versa. Now to our new unit, which is talking about shadow, and this is not actually new because we studied about shadows when we studied the first unit, how can we see, and also when we studied about the earth, we learned a little bit about shadow as the earth moves along the day, how our shadows are formed and changed. Again, let's revise what is shadow. Shadow is a dark spot that is formed when the light is blocked by an object, and this object actually has to be opaque object. Why opaque object? Because opaque object absorb all the light and they do not let the light pass through, so there won't be light behind them. So instead they form a figure of the same object, which we call the shadow of the object. Another question: why do you think that transparent materials cast no shadows? Easy. They do not cast any shadows because they allow all the light to pass through them. They do not absorb any light, so there is no shadow. But another question, why do you think shadows are formed? Easy. Shadows are formed mainly because the light travels in straight line. That's one. So if it's blocked, shadows are formed, right? So why shadows are formed? Shadows are formed because the light travels in straight line. So when it's blocked by an opaque object, a shadow is formed. So here's the question. The object must be opaque or translucent to make a shadow. Right. But which one of them will cast the clearest shadow? Excellent. The opaque material will cast the most clear shadow because they do not allow any of the light to pass. Say again, the same answer. Translucent object will cast shadow, but this shadow will not be clear enough, but there will be a shadow because remember, they allow some of the light to pass. But transparent object will not make any shadow because the light pass through them. So no shadows will be formed. This was our lesson for today. Hope you're staying safe and hope seeing you soon.